if they became an entrepreneur just because they don't want a job, their haircut is going to look just like yours and mine very soon, right? They're going to be in the hair challenge club. But yeah, you have to put an emotional attachment. It's not the money, it's what the money is going to do for you. Because being an entrepreneur, it's an emotional roller coaster. So if you don't have a crystal clear vision of what you really want, why you want it, and keep that in front of you at all times, like that vision is the magnet that continues to pull you forward through the emotional roller coaster.
Welcome to You Are Buzzworthy. As business owners, we know we must keep an eye on our daily productivity and our business profitability. Efficiency is another word we hear that lends to the same mentality. And even though we read all of the great books on how to be more productive, efficient, and profitable, we still struggle to reach a high level of all three. I personally struggle with things like dyslexia and ADHD. And even though I'm aware of my unproductive tendencies and the fact that they are hurting my profitability, I still find myself waking up early on Saturdays to make up for what I didn't achieve throughout the week. Do you find yourself in this boat often? If you do, then you are going to love my discussion today with Darin Kidd, a highly sought after business mentor. As a multi-seven-figure entrepreneur and a dad of five, Darin knows the struggles most have of trying to run a business profitably while balancing the personal responsibilities like a family. But he believes that entrepreneurs can get more customers, earn more profits, and take their business to the next level without sacrificing their health, happiness, and core values. How's it going, Darin?
Buzz, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. It is a Tuesday. Is it? It's Tuesday today, right?
I think so.
Oh my gosh. The time of the recording is coming up on spring, right? And so it was a warm day yesterday and I didn't get outside, and now it's a cold day today and I'm like, oh man, I should have been outside. Where are you hailing from?
I'm in Virginia. So yes, we've had a couple beautiful days. And
that's awesome.
And yes, the only thing we have to be careful of is, since you and I both have the same haircut, for those that are just listening, we're both a little hair challenged. We were talking earlier, we can grow a cul-de-sac or a horseshoe, but that's about it. But we have to watch for the sunscreen as it gets
Definitely.
warm.
Yes. Lots of hats. For the winter, it's to keep the head warm. In the summer, to keep it from burning. So
Exactly.
yes, definitely there. All right. Hey, today we're talking about productivity. You are a productivity guru. I hate that word, but you are. This is what you talk about, is productivity and profitability. So I want to dive right in and just ask you the simple question of like, why is it that so many entrepreneurs lack in productivity?
Well, it's funny too, because Buzz, you and I were talking before going, hey, look, we're going to ask, just these questions to keep us on track because you're ADD. And I'm sitting going, man, great minds think alike. And then there's us, right, Buzz?
Right.
And there are quite a few reasons, I believe. And the reason that I got so what's the word I'm looking for? Laser focused on productivity is because of exactly what you said. That's why I was laughing. I'm like, man, I tell people I have ADD, ADHD, ADT, I got them all. And so because of that, I've had to get really clear. And I think that entrepreneurs, a lot of times we struggle with productivity is because we don't have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. Clarity gives you focus, and focus gives you energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the old saying, if we don't know where we're going, any road will get us there. And so one, we don't have a crystal clear vision of exactly what we want. And instead of being very intentional, we just kind of let the day take us where it may, if we're not careful. So I think that clarity is one. Fear, anxiety of really just going out there and taking action. And so a lot of times we fill our time with a lot of things that make us feel good, but they don't produce any profits.
I'm busy.
Productivity. Yeah. One of my favorite things I used to say, and it was Peter Drucker that said, look, it's not how much you do, it's the effectiveness of what you do.
I think it's really important to talk about fear, right? Because we do have, I think every single entrepreneur I've ever talked to in the last 17 years of being in business full time have ever been like, oh yeah, I am completely confident in everything I'm doing. And therefore everything I do has purpose. highly efficient and highly profitable. Like that. Even if you talk to like some of the big, like I was talking to Ryan Dice from Digital Marketer at TNC a few months ago. And, we were talking about his new venture, Scalable, right? And even with him teaching people how to be scalable and exitable and stuff like that in his mastermind, he had to go through the struggles and the fears that wasn't going to land. And this man is the marketing guru, right? Like Ryan Dice is pretty much the top of the heap, right? He's been around before digital marketing was ever a thing, and he's kind of the grandfather of that, right? So I think that there's this imposter syndrome that keeps us from being productive. Would you agree with that?
100%. The circles that you and I are both, we continue to be in different circles, right? Because if you're the smartest person in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. To seek out being around the people that make you uncomfortable. They think bigger, they talk bigger, they have a bigger vision. But what I found is that almost every single person that has achieved the greatest things, they're just as jacked up as everybody else. They're just as insecure. They have the same fears. But a couple things. One, they're very clear on what they want.
Right.
And those reasons come first, the results come later. And that why, the reasons, or what pulls them forward, that vision, they continue to keep their eyes focused on what they want, not what they don't want. Going, not where they've been. Fail, but they fail fast. They fail forward. They plan to review, and they use that to continue to learn and grow. And so when you talk about that internal thermostat, that we feel like the imposter syndrome, it's so true. We only get what we feel like we're worth. And it's like the book, The Big Leap, where it talks about we will self-sabotage and always come back down. And I'm telling you, this can happen and will happen at different levels if we're not very intentional. Because I remember when I went from, bankrupt 25 years ago, and then when I was blessed to go out there and make multiple seven figures, well, if you don't feel like you're worthy, you find a way to get rid of it.
Right.
You don't feel like you're worthy of that. So yes, 100%, I agree with you.
And I think that the imposter syndrome grows with you, in that if you look at a Ryan Dice and it's like, okay, now I'm going to do X. Well, his comfort level, if he were to come back down and just say, you know what, I'm just going to be a one-to-one consultant, he'd do it in his sleep, right? But he's on such a bigger stage. So his fears are driven by being in a position where he can fall further, right? And so the risk is higher, therefore their fear factor is higher.
Yes.
Right. And I think that it comes down to mindset, right? And you can have clarity. I want to do X, right? But if your mindset, if your mindset is in the wrong place, even the clarity on what might be the right goal or direction can be sabotaged by the wrong mindset. What do you have to say about that and how it kind of parlays into that productivity part?
Yes, a couple things. One, we hear, you got to work hard. If you want to make more and become more, you got to work harder. Well, that's a lie. Because how many people do we know that work really hard that never accomplish their dreams and their goals? So working hard is not the key. And then when you go, knowledge is power. How many of us have heard knowledge is power? I'll tell you, that's not true. Because we know a lot of people that know a lot, but they're, I got a friend of mine, he says they're broke know-it-alls. It's knowledge plus action equals power. And anything that we ever achieve and win, we achieve and win in our head first. Success is 80% psychology and 20%. Tony Robbins talks about that skill set. Billionaire mentor of mine told me this. And to be honest with you, Buzz, I heard it for years. It took me years and years to understand what he meant. He goes, you will never get past your self-imposed limitations. It's not what goes on around you that's as important as what goes on within you. It's that invisible lid in our own head. So anything we ever achieve, we ever win, we achieve and we win in our head first. And it's important to understand that the same version that got us to where we are, the same version of Darin Kidd that got me to where I am right now is not the same version that's going to get me to the next level. I've got to think differently. I've got to act differently. And so, yes, those who don't take chances don't make advances. It's that internal thermostat. The mindset drives everything. because with your mindset drives your
I
behaviors, and your
love it. I
behaviors
love
drive
all
your
of that.
results.
When I deal with clients, some people getting into business, just getting into business with the wrong mindset. I'm like, why did you go into business? Right. And I work with service-based businesses. So I'm usually listening for the story of like, well, my dad did this or my mom was this. And so it's something that's handed down to me or it's connected to my passion, those types of things. Or I had like you, like I had this overwhelm and I went through this process and I've learned how to overcome that. I want to teach other people. There's some story behind it, right? Got the origin story, if you will. And then there's the folks who are like, well, I got into business because I didn't want to work anymore. I didn't want to have a job. And I'm like, you just went into the business for the wrong reason, buddy, because you are going to be so miserable because your mindset's wrapped around money versus passion, impact, on all of that stuff, right? And so we talk about clarity, right? And it's like, okay, let's be clear. Being focused on money is the wrong mindset, right? And all your productivity, if it's around money, you will always be looking for a shortcut that will only work for a certain amount of time. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. If it's just money, you won't stay strong enough, long enough to ever get to the other side. Right. And
Right.
if they became an entrepreneur just because they don't want a job, their haircut is going to look just like yours and mine very soon. Right. They're going to be in the hair challenge club. But yeah, you have to put an emotional attachment. It's not the money, it's what the money is going to do for you. Because being an entrepreneur, it's an emotional roller coaster. You can be jacked out of your mind like a chihuahua jacked up on Red Bull one day and wanting to cuddle up on the couch in a snuggle, eating bonbons and watching the Hallmark movie the next day, like self-doubt phase. Like, can I really do it? Is everybody else, should I just work a job that I hate until I die? And then the next day you're back on top of the world. So if you don't have a crystal clear vision of what you really want, why you want it, and keep that in front of you at all times, like that vision is the magnet that continues to pull you forward through the emotional roller coaster.
Right.
Clarity.
I love it.
I mean, I've got a success environment set up all around me, from music playlists to screensavers on my phone, my computer, to videos playing, to pictures of my family. Like, I have all of these things that continue to remind me, because we're very rarely going to feel like doing anything. But that motion creates emotion.
I think that it's really important that the why, you talked about that for a second, and I want to touch back on it, and I want you to expand on that, because I think that purpose helps with that mindset that we were talking about, right? And you said something, it's something similar to like, the money has purpose when you get it, but I also feel that there's purpose behind how you make your money, right? So when people say, it's like, Buzz, what do you do? I said, I create jobs and help people obtain their dreams. Now, a lot of people can say that. So it's but how? I do it through marketing. I help people get right with their marketing. You help people get right with their productivity and their mindset and all the inner game stuff, right? Most of us in business to business and consulting and coaching and stuff like that, we're all helping our clients do pretty much the same thing, but from different angles, right? So that passion is an angle that I feel that a lot of people forget, right? And that purpose behind your passion is what you're actually delivering, right? Is there a mode that we can get ourselves in that keeps reminding us of the why?
No, that's a great question. Yeah. So when I go in and I help, entrepreneurs with business growth, and the first thing that I do is help them go, okay, let's think about, what is the destination? Like, where are we going? You don't leave your house going, hey, we're going on vacation. Well, where? We don't know. We're just going to drive. Well, it's not going to be a very good vacation.
Right.
When you take time to get clarity and know exactly what you want, and this can be in every area of your life, because I work with people that have, made hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're some of the most miserable people I've ever met in my life.
Right.
But because and it's because they didn't keep their priorities in order. Some of them, they sacrificed their health, the first part of their life, to work to gain wealth. Now they're spending all their wealth trying to gain back their health. So for me, I want to be as balanced as I can. There's not a perfect balance, but I know my priorities: faith, family, then finance. Because that, I feel like I'm one of the wealthiest people in the world, because I love my life. Married 30 years, 5 kids, feel better at 50 than I did it in my 20s, get pedicures with my girls and work out with my boys. I love my life, right? But you have to have clarity on what it is you really want. So for me, it's being very intentional. Most people spend more time planning their vacation than they do their life. When the billionaire said, Darin, do a dream board, a vision board, in my mind, immediately I went, am I a child? Like, this is crazy. But I'm like, wait a minute. It's his private jet, not my private jet. He's the one that has 40 companies in 60 countries, not me. He's the one paying for 1,000 kids a year to go to college, not me. He's the one that gave away $400 million to charity, not me. If he says do a dream board, I'm going to do it. And here's the reason he wanted me to do it, is because he knew that anything we ever achieve, we're going to achieve in our head first. What thou seest, thou beest. When you have that clarity and your brain doesn't know the difference in reality and what you tell it. So when you visualize in a dream and a goal, your body produces the same chemicals and endorphins as if the experience actually happened. So why is that important? You can experience an experience before you ever experience it. And you move in the direction of things we're familiar with. And we magnetize the condition that we seek, what you think about and you speak about, you truly do bring about. But we aren't intentional. We just wake up and we're like a ship without a sail. We're like a ping pong ball in a wind tunnel. But for me, what I do is, and there's several things that I do, but I'm very intentional on planning my day before it starts. I've created habits and rituals on a daily basis, knowing that at first we create them, then they create us. So when you prioritize, you're intentional, you know the things that are going to get you. What are the high payoff activities? They're going to move the needle, the KPIs to move the needle and drive me in the direction of my goals and dreams. But here's the challenge, Buzz. When we do those things on a daily basis, they're so small that we don't see the difference immediately the majority of the time. Like if you and I, we went to McDonald's and we go, hey, why is the person dead on the floor? Well, they ate a hamburger, French fries, and a milkshake, and they immediately died. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that's what happens, but I'm just saying if that happened, we would never do that again. But it was doing that slowly over a period of time. It's the simple errors in judgment or the disciplines that seem to make no difference at all today, compound over a period of time. What is the quality of the process on a daily basis that leads us in the direction of the vision in our head that's going to get us the results?
I love all of that, but I feel like we need to give the listeners a starting point, right? Like when we talk about, you get a physical trainer, right? And physical fitness trainer. And it's like, okay, somebody is 400 pounds overweight. The first thing you're going to do is take a walk. Right? And they're going to do that walk every day for 5 minutes until they stop breathing hard at the end of that walk, right? I want us to start with the end in mind, but first things first. What can we do this week to start creating that daily habit of having an intentional day?
Here's what I would recommend. And actually, I even have a free planner they can download on the site that you're putting across the screen. Cool. So they go to iwillintil.com/planner. They can download it. I recommend starting by taking time. If you've ever felt burned out or unmotivated, you're listening right now going, yeah, but I'm just burned out. It's not burnout. It's lack of clarity. Clarity gives you focus and focus gives you energy.
Gotcha.
So if you get the clarity, then you go, okay, what are the things that are going to move me in the direction of those goals?
Right.
And I don't recommend setting a ton of them, but maybe it's like you said, it's about progress, not perfection. Right. Can you get a little bit better today than you were yesterday? In my book, 1% better a day is 37 times better in 1 year, not 37%, 37 times. So what I like to do, this is something very simple. Everyone can start today. Plan tomorrow today before it begins. Do not put any more than 3 to 5 to-dos on your list. Everything else goes into the future to do. So what that does, it forces you to think about what are the most important activities, the 20% that will deliver the 80%. So when you only allow yourself to put 3 to 5 and you do not put them down unless you're going to get them done or you don't go to sleep. Okay, so now you go, okay, these are the top things. Then what I would do is pencil those things in the time you're going to do that tomorrow. Okay, from 7 to 8 in the morning, I'm going to do this. So I've created the habits and the rituals where I get up in the morning. I don't watch the news, right? I used to watch Bad Morning America. It's not Good Morning, it's Bad Morning. And what I do in 3 minutes, there's a 27% increase. If you look at negative things engaged in your social media, anything negative, at the end of the day, you will say you had a horrible day. Just the first 3 minutes. So what I do is I get up, I hydrate. My first part of the morning is purpose development. You don't have to believe what I believe, but I listen to a sermon, a message, whether it's Rick Warren, The Purpose-Driven Life, whatever it is. Then I'll go to the coffee shop on the way to my office. I drive 10 minutes the opposite direction. So I listen to a devotion app on the audible part. Then I get to my office, then it's personal development. So my first hour and a half, 2 hours of the day, it's hydration, 20 ounces of water. It's purpose development, personal development. Then I've got my day planned out. I'm not just waking up being, I'm being proactive, not reactive, being intentional. And then knowing that I have to evaluate the time cost of what I do. And then I end my day, by the way, Buzz, very similar at night, knowing that I'm going to marinate for the next 6 to 8 hours on what I think about, read, listen to before I go to bed. I'll listen to personal development. I'll think about my goals. I'll do some visualization, knowing that your brain doesn't know the difference in reality and what you tell it as if it's already happened. So if I can start my day the right way, end it the right way, I can handle what happens in the middle a lot more. So those are some things that I would do to start creating little habits, little rituals. It's about progress, not perfection. Manage, you can track these things. So for me, on that planner, you'll see there's a hydration little thing where you can mark off, hey, how many glasses of water did I drink? Performance measured as performance improved. There's movement breaks. So did you get one? Every 25 minutes, I use the Pomodoro method, but every 25 minutes, I take a 5-minute break. And I have this whole little ritual that I do with push-ups and air squats and water and all of that, breathing. So you're tracking your movement, your hydration, and don't let all those things overwhelm you. The key is I've added and habit stacked these things over a period of time that have led me to turning 50 years old yesterday, feeling better than I've ever felt in my life, even in my 20s, having better relationships, being happier, being more productive, business growing extremely fast. All of those things start to compound. But the key is most people won't do what you do. But that's why most people won't live the life that you live.
What rituals do you have that propel your day? How about what you do to prepare your night for a productive night's sleep? It all matters, and it matters more the higher you take your game. You don't have to do it all tomorrow, but starting at least one good habit tomorrow will get you closer to your results. Let's all commit to being better to ourselves so we can be better and more successful human beings. Be sure to check out the show notes for Darin's awesome content, like and subscribe to the show, and as always, stay buzzworthy.